no network issue. Dr. Chiwe Pedike and Dr. Dennis, I'm waiting for your own understanding of the word reframing. Yes? No communication from your end? Chinwe and Dennis? Okay, well, I'm sure the author started with the fact that our own perspective, our own perception depends on how we translate issues. Okay, Chukwuebuka Sadu is also here. Welcome, Chukwuebuka. We've been here for some minutes now, 5 minutes or thereabouts. So we're taking understanding of the word in framing from chapter 16 that we read. Okay, Dr. Bedike Dennis simply means the meaning we attach to any experience. All right. Okay. Reframing, yes. All right. That's an understanding. Okay. Okay. All right. Dr. Misekwadike, you're still not communicating. Chukwebuka, like I said, we're taking the meaning of the word reframing from the participants. So now you're here. If you can give us what you understand by the word reframing. As I was already continuing, and I said that our perspective or our perception is what determines how we interpret situations. It is what we feed ourselves, the information we give to our subconscious mind that determines how the conscious mind interprets whatever it is that we are looking at, or we're hearing, or we're seeing, or we're feeling. All those five senses. Whether you feel, you touch, you hear, you speak, you listen, whatever it is our own perspective that makes it easy for us to identify any issue. So we can change experiences. You cannot see the response of others. What is happening now? Is the live chat? Is there in the box? You can read it. Unless it's from your end. Anybody can read the live chat. Okay. Okay. Okay, Chinwe says reframing is turning any negative experience into positivity. Yes, all right. That's part of it. That's part of reframing. Okay, turning and that's what Semi actually captured very properly in what he mentioned. The power to be able to change the pattern of whatever it is we're seeing or hearing or feeling within the context or the content of whatever. That's reframing. That's good. I'm happy that at least you guys still remember what that means. So having said that, then just like Oludare also mentioned, you can change. You can literally can use the word literally to say you're pulling off the frame from one aspect and you're putting the frame onto another aspect. That is one way to actually face life and live it to the max. It's one way to actually face life and live it to the max. It's one way to get control over your anger. It's one way to get control over whatever anybody wants to make you either feel jealous or envy or anything like that. You're able to change one situation for the other. So reframing gives us the power to be able to exchange or change our perception about an issue or change our perspective about an issue. And like I said, that's one power that you can possess. And you'll be certain that nobody can ruffle your feathers. And that no matter what they do to you, you can bear it with stoicism and continue doing what it is that you expect yourself to be doing. So the author said that reframing is a very simple way, just like Chinwe pointed out here, it's a very simple way of changing negativity into positivity. Because life, if you really want to enjoy life, you cannot afford to be in the negative all the time. Yeah, once in a while we feel down. Okay, once in a while we feel depressed. Once in a while we feel out of touch, out of tune. But that's just once in a while. If nobody can live in that passion, that pattern, that fashion. It's once in a while you get there. And as soon as you get there, you realize that, man, I am not living myself. You quickly bring yourself out from that by turning that negativity into positivity. Yeah, okay. As I do, I'm reading what you are written here. Reframing is seeing something with another content or viewing it from another perspective. Yes. Okay. So when you replace one negative item, negative experience, like we said, we're here as human beings, passing through experience, learning one thing or the other. So you reframe one negative experience and you turn it into a positive outcome that can help you to learn about that. And the reframing, like I pointed out already, is done in two frames, either by content or by context. Context, not context as in boxing context, but in context as in what is described in it. So we have context reframing and we have content reframing. For instance, in the book we read, The Unlimited, well, we are reading, we're still reading it, Unlimited Power. You remember where he talked about the 7 lies of success? Of course, that was more like a reframe because it was actually describing the things one needs to do to be successful. But instead, they put it the other way that to attract attention. People want to know the so success has some life. So that's a refrain. Now, when you have gone through those seven uh, patterns or 7 lies of success, you find out that they actually the 7 truths of success that anybody can use to become successful in life. So this book we're reading now is also filled with reframes. It's important, and there are multiple meanings to any experience. So depends on who has experienced. If you experience something today, I experience that same thing tomorrow. Of course, the context will change because if you are born it today, the way you're going to be it tomorrow will depend on how you bore it today. If you're able to critically analyze it and accept it as what it is and what has to be, when it comes back to you, you no longer be shivering, you no longer be afraid, you no longer be worried because you already have experienced it before. So you can get into the context of it. And then if it's about the content of it, if it's about words, you already have gotten used to the words. So you no longer feel agitated. You don't feel hyped, no, your anger swelling up because you already have gotten used to the content of that experience or the context or its context. So one of the keys to success is finding the most useful frame for any experience so you can turn it into something that works for you rather than works against you. That's what I said earlier. It's important that in this life you're living a life that is working for you. Yes, like I said, one can go into depression, can get for a moment, can get depressed for a moment, you can suffer some form of jealous fit or something for a moment. But eventually you have a wife and maybe you see your wife talking to another man and she's joking, stuff like that. So you can get momentarily jealous and say, what's this woman doing? But then if you realize that she's your wife and no matter what she's coming back to your house, you think you have to give up that feeling. So this is important that any experience you have, you must be able to put it such a way it will be working for you, not working against you. But that's what most of those who have lost lost touch with reality. When we say people have gone insane, that means they've lost touch with reality. That's what they're not able to actually have control over. They have actually allowed themselves to go off the tangent. So they have lost touch with reality, with who they are, with where they are, with what they can do. And that's because they were unable, ab initio, to reframe those bad experiences they have had. And I tell you, people can have bad experiences right from childhood. Like we said, when we read the autobiography of at least the brief of it, which I got from Wikipedia, of Tony Robbins, all of us were agreed that if that guy were to be a Nigerian, he wouldn't be useful to himself, not talk about useful to any community, because of his family background. Can't believe somebody had a dad who never knew him, and then the mother married more than 5 times, and the fifth husband was one that adopted him and gave him the name Robbins. And then as he didn't go to school, as a he walked out of his family house and never went back. You know, I mean that kind of history. And yet this man grew up to become a coach to American presidents, a coach to international figures. From what experience, from what knowledge, what he gathered, like we say, in the school of hard knocks, the University of Life. Okay, so it is doable, it is possible that anybody can do that. And he did it because he was able to turn those negative, so many versions of these books in many languages. So it's important that we can also copy him, we can learn from him, in turning experiences from bad to good. So that is that. And then, of course, he gave the information that, yes, these days the social media is there. Now, nobody can believe that in Nigeria, for instance, there could be a protest where nobody led that protest, physical as it were, but who are being led by social media. The NSAS program, NSAS protest, was more or less a social media protest. And people took it from the social media into the physical realm. People now shout all over the place, end this, end that, end that, end that. And there were protests all over at least most parts of the south of the country. You see, because of social media, because of the we're talking about television and radio and all the hypes that we can get from them, as part of the things we also hear. Because television, there's so much negativity coming out of television, so much negativity coming out of radio, even newspapers. They'll hype some information. Some of them are not even real. But because they have access to social media, to public enlightenment and public enlightenment, yes, they can confuse the mass of the people. And when people believe one thing as part of their reality, their perception, it's difficult to change it for them. That's what happened in NSAS thing. Some people just took it, for a long time, they bottled up their emotions. So now is the time to let go. Some people just let go. And you saw what happened last Tuesday, maybe today, and some people were killed at Lekki and all that. So this is what comes out of misuse of social media, misuse of public uh, information system, the PIS, is what comes out of it. However, one can change that experience by putting another frame. I am sure that those who have passed through the NSAS protest definitely will have to detox, if I use that word, or to detox themselves to get back to reality as it were. Because no matter what, the government is not what it is supposed to be. So the way to deal with people, like we said earlier, is to be able to change the pattern of how you relate to them. We have learned this thing before when we're talking about uh, getting to know people, building communication, building relationship, building rapport with people. You need to keep dancing around them. If I use that word, dancing around them, as in being open to receive information, open to act along them, so you can get what it is that you want from them. Is important. Now there are people who are very afraid of even living. One of the reasons why men are not even up to their full potentials is that most of us are afraid. Afraid of the unknown, afraid of failure, afraid of tomorrow. Even some of us are even afraid of success. You can imagine, okay, somebody's afraid that, oh, if he becomes successful now, the kidnappers will remember him. The people in his village will start going to Babalawo against him. People are really afraid of success. So they prefer to be how and where they are than get out of their comfort zone to do something better with their lives. That's another experience that one needs to reframe. I mean, success is good, and we're in this world to make it a better place. So we cannot, because of what will happen tomorrow, we have an opportunity today to become successful. I will say, no, hold on. I will do that when I am certainly sure that it's going to work out. Nobody can be sure of anything. Nobody can be certainly sure of anything until that thing comes to happen. That's why some of us have lived, lived in front of it. Let it happen today. That which happen tomorrow, let it happen today. Okay, so reframing is important when it comes to having to do with people and your experiences as a person, so that you can be a better person and live a better life than the present. So the fear I talked about, you also talked about dissociative fear, dissociating somebody or dissociating yourself, or even the fear you feel. Don't forget that fear is good. Nobody says that fear is bad, because it is fear that keeps us going. That's why those of us who are in science, remember the flight, or the fight. It is about fear, about the surge of adrenaline. Okay? But the fear we're talking about that is dangerous is the fear of taking risk. That's the fear that's dangerous to us, that cannot allow us to live. Okay? Because when you are afraid of taking risk, then what else are you doing in life? Because even living life itself is a risk. How are you sure that the food you're eating is not, it doesn't have some germs in it? How are you sure water you're drinking, it doesn't contain some germs in it? And that those germs can actually affect your health. How are you sure? But you think, go ahead to take the water. How are you sure that the coke you're drinking doesn't have particles of cockroach in it? How are you sure that the malt you're drinking doesn't have particles of flies in it? And all that. So life itself is even risky. Okay, so nobody can actually say that I'm living a risk-free life. It's not possible, because going to bed is risky. How are you sure you're going to wake up the following morning? And then if you say you don't want to sleep because you're afraid of going, dying from there, how are you sure that even when you're awake that you cannot go from being awake? Okay, so these are issues about risk. I mean, about risk and fear, yes, and fear. So one has to learn how to overcome fear. And in that book, he went ahead to create new patterns of how to overcome fear. Okay, phobia is actually an ailment which many of us are suffering, and we need to address them appropriately in order to live life the way we want to live it. And finally, he said that there are people, there are people who are reverse reframers. Reverse reframers. Those people are people who, no matter how bright the sun is, they will always look for the dark cloud. No matter how good something is, they will always look for something bad in that which is good. That is reverse reframing. And that is not to be encouraged. The one that's encouraged is that changing negative experience to positive experience. That is what is to be encouraged. But to be a reverse reframer is not to be encouraged. If it is good, say it is good. Be happy that it is good and attract it. If it is not good, say it is not good. But it cannot be good. And then because the person is a sadist, that says it is not good. Just to ensure that somebody doesn't take credit or somebody doesn't become happy because of what they have done or what they have discovered. So it's necessary and important that we do not become reverse the framers and use it against ourselves. And so these are the points I've jotted from chapter 16 that we read yesterday. If there's anything I've missed out, you can also put it there. If you have any questions you want to ask, let's get them on the live chat. If you have any contribution you want to make, let's also get them in the live chat so we can quickly round up this and then go to chapter 17 to be done for the day. So I'm waiting. If you have any questions you want to ask, any clarifications or any contributions, let us have them on the live chat. Okay? I'm waiting here. Yes. Anybody say something? Say something. That's what you under the live chat you see say something. Okay. So can we have people say something? Who is still around? Who is still around? Any contributions or okay, Chim, all right. Or questions or clarifications? On chapter 16. Yes. Okay. Dennis, Chinwe, Oludare, Asadu, okay. Semiyu, I hope you're still around. So can we get your own, your own contributions to chapter 16? So we can round up there and then go to chapter 17. We've spent about 30 minutes now. So we're going to take 2 hours, but it's okay. So let's quickly round up. Any contributions or questions or clarifications to do on chapter 16? Okay. All right. Okay. Explanations are quite clear. Fine. All right. Okay then. So let's go to chapter 17 then. We just finished reading chapter 17. Okay. So who remembers the topic, the title of chapter 17? It's okay. I've moved on to chapter 17 now. What is the title of chapter 17? Okay. Yes, who remembers the title of chapter 17? Yeah, okay. Oh, good. Anchoring yourself to success. Great. Thank you, Dr. Chinwe. Anchoring yourself to success. Okay. So, what did you make out of the chapter? Yes, all right. Okay. Thank you. Looks like Asadu has gone out. I can't see his brake lights. All right. So, what did you make out of the chapter? Out of chapter 17, we just finished reading today. Let me hear before we go into the rev up for that chapter. Yes. Chinwe, Dennis, Asadu, Oludare, Semiyu. In your own words, what did you make out of the chapter or from that title, anchoring yourself to success? How would you explain that to a 7-year-old girl who is just in primary school? Can I break it down? Yes, I'm waiting to get information from you. Hello, I'm waiting. How do you explain chapter 17 in brief to a 7-year-old girl to make her understand what the title is all about? Anchoring yourself to success. For the key word in that chapter is already in the title. Anchoring yourself. Anchor. So, who is willing to say something before we proceed? I'm not seeing any hand moving. Who is willing to say something before we proceed? Yes, Samiyu, nothing to say. Can't explain this to a 7-year-old girl. Oh, many persons have left the place. Okay, who is left? Only one person is left here now. Who is that? The other network has sent some people out of the hall, but somebody is still left. Who is still here? Okay. All right. I'm expecting that somebody will say something about anchoring. Anyway, the author says that anchors have great powers because they can instantly access powerful states. Okay. Great. Okay. To attach one's brain to positive actions instead of negative experiences. Great. That's from Dr. Semir. All right. So that's what I said also at the beginning, that anchors have great power. Okay. Epidike says applying ourselves to success, turning every circumstances we encounter to our advantage to achieve a positive goal. That's a good one. And Chinwe says anchoring can be said to be some emotions or experience that is embedded in the subconscious that comes out to the conscious state when similar situation is being faced. That's a good one. Two, great, great. And that shows that you guys went through the chapter as it is. See, so this is why this live presentation is actually preferable to me to just chatting on WhatsApp or doing a Facebook Live or doing a Twitter discussion. Because now we're not reading, we're taking it out from what you have read. It's there in our brain already. We are remembering them. So Chinwe actually brought out the gist in the chapter. The fact that when you have anchored some experience, if it's a positive one, which we encourage people to do, and then whenever it comes up again, you'd have gotten used to it, so you'll be able to respond positively to that experience or to that action that will happen. So that's what an anchor is. So anchoring is a power. It's a power that makes you stay in some state, stay there and benefit from there. Change the situation, change the experience, change the circumstance from bad to better, not just good. That's what an anchor does for each and every one of us. So anchors, like I said, they have great power because they can instantly access powerful states. I know our world is full of anchors. Our world is full of anchors. All of us have one thing or the other that we're anchored on already. Okay, and we respond according to what you're anchored on. For instance, a doctor knows the first thing to do for a patient is already an anchor. They've told us, okay, medical school, if you don't want to do an examination, is IPPA. It's an anchor. If you don't have, as I see a patient in the clinic, next thing to do is conduct an IPPA inspection, this, that, transportation, and all that. It's an anchor already. You don't need to go and read a book about it again because it's already ingrained deep in your mind, in your subconscious mind. So as soon as you see a patient, it will just come on. It's okay, this is what to do. You have also seen that if somebody is bleeding, the first thing to do is to arrest the bleeding. How do you do it? It's already anchored in your brain on how to arrest bleeding so somebody does not bleed to death. And so on and so forth for those who are doctors or scientists, as the case may be. So many anchors. That's why I said the world is full of anchors. And this I'm talking about is professional anchor, not social anchor. In the social anchor, angle, of course, you want to walk away from a negative person. As soon as you start hearing some words, they start coming, you know that this person is negative minded. You want to keep away, you want to just find your level. Or you go to a place, maybe like I don't smoke cigarettes. So if I enter a place where people are smoking cigarettes, I immediately react to it and I just walk out. I'm sure that that's my own anchor for that. I'm sure that people also have their own anchors in every other thing that is available. So the world is full of anchors. Educational anchors are there. There are certain ways to read. I remember in medical school, I had my own time of reading. That was my anchor. I'll be reading when others are sleeping. That was my anchor. And then when they're sleeping, when I'm sleeping, guess what they're reading? That was my anchor. So I'm sure each and every one of us had our own anchors in various ways. So that's what the writer said in this book, that there are so many anchors in the world. But the important thing is that that anchor must be one that will help you to live a better life. Not an anchor that will send you into the world you don't want to belong to. And anchor or anchoring is a way to give an experience permanence. Like I said earlier, it's a way to give an experience permanent. You permanent it there. It stays there, and you can effortlessly call it back or call it out. Effortlessly, you don't have to do any work about it because it's already ingrained in your subconscious. All you need to do is just to bring it out because an experience has come that was like that before. So you quickly key into it. So anchoring is very essential in life to be able to get things done. And that's why the author has brought this chapter to bear. And it's about anchoring yourself to success. So how do you anchor yourself to success? We have talked about modeling before. We've talked about meta programming before. We've talked about getting people's physiology before in previous chapters. Now, so how do you anchor yourself to success? You need to model people. You need to make a choice of those you want to model. You need to make a choice of what you want to model about them. It could be the way they speak, like we said before, during that period, we were considering that chapter. It could be the way they walk. It could be the way they carry their shoulder, and all that. So, when you want to act yourself to success, you need to find what is it that you actually want to be successful at. Is it your family life? Is it your professional life? Is it is it your career? Whatever it is that you want to, if you want to model yourself or you want to be good at, there's somebody who has been that before you. So you need to locate that person and then learn from that person. So anchoring is an experience that has been made permanent by you. You are the one that will make the experience permanent in your subconscious mind. So it is easy for you to call it back or call it out when it presents, that kind of experience presents itself again to you. Like I described the pattern by which doctors examine patients. It's already what is taught in medical school, and you carry it all through your medical life. In every practice you find yourself, it has not changed, and it's not likely to change. So that's anchoring. Now, it says that another thing I want to mention here that all anchoring is a created association of thoughts, ideas, feelings, or states with a specific stimulus. Stimulus is that thing that will come to remind you of what happened in times past. That's the stimulus. But every anchor is based on something that's happened before, on states you have been before, physiological states. It can be on experiences you've gathered before. It can be on thoughts. It can be on feelings you've had before. It can be on ideas that you've generated before. It can be on anything. But the issue is that something must come to trigger it off. And that thing that will come to trigger it off is the stimulus. Okay? Okay, bad network, YouTube page not longer letting. Well, okay. Well, I'm continuing. When I finish, I will send it to the platform. So if you don't hear me again, I always watch the remaining part of this presentation. But it's good that most of you have passed through here, at least to provide a lively conversation here. So let me quickly round up on this chapter 17. Rev up. So I was saying that that anchoring is a created association of ideas, okay, of thoughts, of feelings, or of states that one has been. But the important thing is that there is a stimulus that makes somebody get back to where or get back and get an anchor back. I remember the Pavlov dog theory, experiment, where he placed a dog, placed food at that, and then rang bell at the appropriate time. And over a period of time, that dog was able to associate the ringing of bell with the presence of food. So anytime the dog heard bell ringing, of course, he go to look for the food. Until they were able to know that, okay, if we ring a bell and there's no food, the dog will still go to the place where the food is supposed to be because he has already associated the ringing of the bell with the availability of food. That is an anchor. So the stimulus is the ringing of bell. That's what the dog has associated with the availability of food. So whenever a person is in an intense state where the mind and the body are very strongly involved together, and the specific stimulus is constantly and simultaneously provided at the peak of the state, the stimulus and the state become neurologically linked. That's what Pavlov was able to do. That's what Pavlov was able to do. Don't worry, like I said, Dari will show this up as soon as we're through with it, so you can watch it again from there. But right now, if I end it, I've not completed the discussion. So I'm still continuing to ensure that I finish up with what I have here, and then I can post it on the platform. All right. So it says for us, the stimulus and the response must be tied together. They must anchor together to produce a result. Okay. And then it goes ahead to say these are the keys to anchoring. First, we need to have intensity of the state. Okay, let's say that people associate drinking of water with going to urinate. That people associate that whenever they drink water, the next thing to do is to urinate. I remember in those days about my friends who used to smoke. They'll tell me that as soon as they finish eating, the next thing to do is to at least smoke a stick of cigarette. Because that's what they have associated eating food with. And that's the anchor. That's the stimulus is eating food. And then smoking cigarette is the alcohol, the anchor. So whenever they eat food, the next thing to do is to go and smoke cigarette. So that's why it says that the intensity of the state is essential in anchoring. And the second thing is that the timing, that's the peak of the experience, is also very essential. Now, the intensity, the peak of the experience or the timing, then the uniqueness of the stimulus and the replication of that stimulus. These are the four things on which anchoring is based. Okay? Okay. So these are the four things on which anchoring is based. There has to be that intensity. There has to be that external stimulus, the timing of that stimulus. There has to be that unique stimulus, and there has to be the replication of that stimulus. These are important sine qua non to anchoring. And it says that the key ingredient of success is that the ability to elate from your own environment to that which you have triggered will be on the negative or on the successful side. That is important. Okay, Dario, you're welcome back. At least I'm sure it's network that was actually giving challenge. So now that it's cleared, you are welcome back. I'm still here and continuing. I'm writing up actually on chapter 17. There is a short chapter. So the message has been passed. And that is that for anchoring to take place, first the intensity of the state has to be recognized. Then the timing or the peak of the experience, and then the uniqueness of the stimulus, and of course, repeating that stimulus over and over again to elicit that response. This was also what Pavlov did, and that experiment helped us understand that it can be what they call conditioned reflex. Okay, you can be conditioned to do something, and that's what anchoring is all about. Anchoring is all about conditioned reflex. You are used to it, so and that's why we get comfortable because we're used to it. And like I said, like somebody said, that the subconscious mind is actually our seat of comfortability. It doesn't want us to rock the boat. It doesn't want us to do anything out of the ordinary. It just wants us to be the average people that we are. Just keep doing the thing we are doing, whether your is paying you or not paying you. That's our subconscious mind. So for you to be able to break out of your shell, out of that box, you must you must reprogram, you must rebrand your subconscious. And that is not it's not too difficult really. It's a matter of getting consistent on what you want to have done and being there purposely and willfully doing it until you get results. And that is what anchor is all about. That is what reframing is all about. Reframing, you change one experience, one bad experience, with a positive frame, and then speak positively about it as you get along. All right. So that's chapter 17. I will just consider. I don't know if anybody has. I did. Daryl, you're here. Somebody, some other person is here too. I don't know who that is, but then. So let me hear if you have any contributions or any questions on this chapter 17, so that we can quickly round up the presentation. So, any challenge, any contributions, any questions, any clarifications to make? I'm here. We can take that and then call it a night. It is. I thought we were going to spend like 2 hours, but well, it's just under an hour yet. Yeah, so it's good. It's good. We have made some progress. All right. So, Dari, any question? Who else is here? Somebody else is here. Any questions or contributions? Yes. Any questions on chapter 17 or contributions? Any questions or contributions on chapter 17? Okay, Semi is back too. Okay, somebody is back, somebody is up again. Network. Anyway, Nigeria, so we shouldn't complain about network. It's the normal thing. It's the normal thing. So we just uh, we just take it as it is. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Samuel. No questions. Expression is okay. All right. Uh, Dari, are you still there? Any questions from your side? Who else is around? Okay, more explanations on collapsing anchors. Okay, that's Dr. Ekwedike. Well, it's as simple as what we did last time about the switch method of trying to bring the negative and the positive and making a choice about the positive. Now, what this means is that for you to collapse anchors, if something negative arises right between before you, and you're able to consciously evoke a positive feeling, those two can cancel themselves out in your subconscious mind. Because all these activities we're talking about happen in the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is not bothered with all these things. But it is this conscious that eventually implements whatever the subconscious has decided. So if there's a negative experience that is staring you in the face, and it is you that will do that, you're able to consciously evoke a positive experience in direct opposite to that the negative experience, both of them will cancel themselves out. And that's what that's what collapsing anchors actually mean. Because when that anchor of negativity is there and you're able to form the anchor of positivity, it will neutralize. Either you go to a neutral state or both of them will cancel themselves out and you're just free. Speaking literally as it is. So the important thing is that we must allow our subconscious mind to be at work for us at any point in time till. And that's why we have to feed it with positive elements, with positive comments, with positive brightness. We're looking at the brightness of life or the brighter side of life, as they will say. Because when we see darkness all the time, then we will not be able to have any anchors collapsing. When we become, like we talked about reframers, when we become reverse reframers, it's not possible to see uh, uh, anchors collapsing. But when we go out of our way to create positivity for ourselves in our subconscious mind, it will reflect on our conscious mind and will reflect on our external reality. Okay, so that is what I think that collapsing anchors is all about. There must be, it's just like they say, action and reaction are equal and opposite. So that's one of Newton's laws. Okay, so when a negative one comes and you're able to consciously evoke a positive one, you can cancel yourself. Yes, anchoring oneself to productivity and confidence. Yes, as I do, what is that a question or a comment or what? Is that a question as I do, anchoring oneself to productivity and confidence? Is that a question or a comment or a contribution or what? Chinwe, I hope I've been able to give certain explanation to what you mentioned. Yes? Okay. I'm not reading you guys any longer. As I do, you said something here, anchoring oneself to productivity and confidence. What is that now? Is that an addition? Is that an explanation? Is that a question? Are you answering Chinwe's question of collapsing anchors or what? Okay, Dare, it's good to see you back. It's network issue. We're in Nigeria, like I said earlier, so we don't have to complain about network. We should be getting used to it. Okay. Yes, we noticed that you Asadu, we noticed that you were going in and out. So I guess that's also a network issue. It's not your fault. But we will. This will be available on the platform as soon as we're through. When I end the live stream, I'll post the link on the platform, and then you can watch it again and listen to the conversations that took place because of the live streaming. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Ebuka, you're welcome. Thank you. No, Chinwe, it is not possible now. It is not possible that in collapsing, the negative will overcome the positive. No, it's all in you. It's all in you. It's what you want to have done that you will do. It's just about like you want to reframe a negative experience with a positive experience. It's all about you. It's all in you. You're the one that will determine how you want to do it. Ordinarily on its own, positivity will always overcome negativity. Ordinarily. But if the person is other tuned and doesn't want to give room for positivity, it's possible. That's why we have people who are reverse reframers. So it's possible. I mean, ordinarily. But for somebody who is progressive, who wants to make progress in life, there's no way a negative experience can surmount or overcome a positive experience. It is you that will evoke if there's a negative in front. It's just like having an arrow and you're looking at a bird you want to shoot. You have to aim well at that bird to shoot to kill. Okay, so the 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 positive anchor you are going to evoke consciously should be able to aim at the negative anchor that's in front of you and shoot it and collapse it so that both of them will be out of system and you're free. You get yourself, you get your freedom. Speaking literally, as a matter of fact. So, but like I said, it is us that will decide what we really want. So if somebody wants to be a reverse framer, well, you cannot help the person because it's already his psyche. He has already psyched himself up to that. And if somebody wants to be a reframer for good, a positive reframer, you can also, of course, you cannot you cannot dissuade the person from becoming what he wants to become. Just like what people get afraid of is what they usually get. For those of us who are Christians, you remember the story of Job. Job was a very rich man who had 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls, beautiful daughters and handsome sons and stuff like that. Sheep all over the place. The wealthiest man of his own time that time. But right to say, somewhere in the back of his mind, he had that fear that, look, these things, I can lose them anytime. Somewhere, you know. And eventually, when God allowed Satan to go and tempt him, and Satan now went and took everything that Job, I said, yes, that which I have been afraid of has happened to me. So the things somewhere in the back of our mind, and that back of our mind is our subconscious, is just looking somewhere, so looking there somewhere, and somehow. So that which we're afraid of, most of the time, that's what actually happens. I met the lady the other day. She said she went to the bank actually to withdraw some money. But before going to the bank, I told her, I said, oh, I don't want to go to the bank with this money. I'm going to lose this money. I might lose this money. This might let me and take the money. That's exactly what happened to her. As she was coming out of the bank, she entered the taxi. They didn't know that people they were tracing her. I mean, tracing her. And then they got somewhere and they just stopped the vehicle and took the money from her. And she was like, oh, if I listen to myself, I should have gone. But that was her fear, and that fear translated into an action that eventually an experience will eventually pass through. Okay. So it's not possible for somebody who is progressively minded. It's not possible that the negative anchor can overcome the positive anchor. But for somebody who is a reverse framer, you can't help the person. It's very possible. Okay, Ludare, all right, you don't have any questions or contributions? Great. So that means you understood the chapter very well. And then it's now left for you to start implementing the chapter. Now, whatever it is, what this book is pointing us at to is that our subconscious needs to be reprogrammed. So if your subconscious is still giving you challenge, you need to reprogram your subconscious mind. And like I said, I'm starting a channel, a YouTube channel on the subconscious mind. We're still looking for the titles and stuff as we did for this one. If you remember, we did this one under 2 days. We're going to get it approved by YouTube instead of using it for our program. So we also want to do that for that other channel. So as we do that, we are going to concentrate that one on training people on how to use their subconscious mind. If people can understand, seriously, if we can understand how to use our subconscious mind, we shall not be in lack of anything. We shall not be in lack. So that is next phase I'm giving to myself for this public service programs we are running all over the place. Okay. So Chinwe, I hope that's okay. That's clearer now. What a man gets what a man wants is what he gets. Usually, that's why they say, as a man thinketh his heart, so is it. Usually. So if you're looking to get positive action, then you have to act positive. I mean, if you're looking to get positive results, you have to act positively. But if you're looking to get negative results, of course, you don't even have to act at all. You just come naturally. That's what will happen. Our natural default system is what I described earlier. Our natural default system is just stay, just live your life, be an average person. Don't just bother about anything. Whatever comes, let it come. That is our natural default system. Okay, our subconscious mind is naturally defaulted that way. Don't just bother. Just be simple. Just live your life. You can be a simple person and still make a lot of difference. Because the life you're living is not only your own, it's also those of them, those of other people who are close to you, your loved ones, your friends and brothers and sisters, your community people, your profession, your colleagues. Your life will also impact on all these aspects of life. All right. So I hope it's okay, Chichi. As I do, any questions? You say you missed out, but do you have any questions? Something? Semiyu, are you still here? Dennis, are we okay now? Can we close the? Can we have a good night from here? Is anybody still having any issues to talk about? Yes? Any developments? Any questions? Okay. I guess we're done for the night. I'm going to send out, like I said earlier, chapter 16 and 17 exercises to you, and I hope that you can look at them and start. I just feel that we don't have the experience we had yesterday, where we could not take the rev up, for chapter 16, because when you do this, it compounds. Now you have to do two exercises under one day, because tomorrow we're reading chapter 18, and that's another set of exercises. So let's keep the fire on. We have done well. We're doing well. Let's keep the fire on, so that you have some few days. 17th and tomorrow. So we have about 3 days or so to go to the end of this book, reading this book. Look at that, 21 chapters. We are at 18 tomorrow, 19, and so by Friday or Saturday, we'll be through with the book. Then we'll start preparing for the last edition for the year 2020. I want to thank you for finding time to appear at this presentation, this live presentation, and to hope that we have made some impact as it is. Remember, don't just read the chapter and go away. As often as you can, go back and read the chapter again, as often as you can. That's what I usually do. But before I brought this book to you, I had gone through it about 3 times before I said to make it a public document for you to also study. So don't just read for today and go home and sleep. So chapter 1, it can be, because I've done these things now, it will be an easy read, at least from chapters 1 to 17 are there right now. So it will be an easy read for you to just flow through for one night or one evening. I'm sure within 1 hour, you'll be able to scan through the 17 chapters and still remember or remind yourself those key points, those target words or target points in each of the chapters, and then know which ones to start implementing if you're not already doing that. So it's important that we learn how to read properly and how to apply the things we're doing. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you all. Coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your opinions. Time to call it a night. Good night, everyone. And sleep well. God keep us until tomorrow. Yes, and good night, everyone. All right, good night, Chinwe, and good night, Dare. Good night, Semiyu. Thank you for coming. Let's do it again tomorrow by the grace of God. Thank you all for coming. It's been a wonderful time with you. Very awesome. Thank you for your contributions. We'll see you again tomorrow. Asadu, Dennis, good night and sleep well. All right.